everybody, and welcome to the 23rd Positively Disney Phone-In podcast show. I think it's just kind of fun that today is Monday, April 23rd, and it's our 23rd podcast. I hope you are doing well. We are filming and recording from sunny Seattle. I can't believe it. That those two words don't usually go together, but I hope you guys are enjoying some nicer weather than what we had all last week. I want to welcome my Facebook followers and Twitch TV joining me live tonight. Tonight, I actually wanted to talk about Animal Kingdom. And as you may or may not know, it is the 20th anniversary of Animal Kingdom. I can't believe how fast 20 years have gone by. It's actually kind of a little bit scary. If you guys have a story that you'd like to share with us, an experience or whatever from your experience at Animal Kingdom, or if you had a chance to go to Earth Day at Animal Kingdom yesterday, call in at 844-483-4763. Or if you have anything else you just want to talk about Disney. You know, I remember where I was 20 years ago when Animal Kingdom opened, and it definitely was not at Animal Kingdom. I'd actually had a newborn and I had a 19-month-old. So going to Walt Disney World wasn't in the cards for a little while, but it was about a year and a half later when our daughter was, she's 19 months. Yeah, so about a year and a half later, she had just celebrated her third birthday in August. And the newborn was then 18 months old. And I was actually expecting our third. And we up and packed and went off to Walt Disney World and enjoyed Animal Kingdom for the first time. And I'll tell you, I think that is one park that kind of doesn't get as recognized as the others. And I really, really love Animal Kingdom for a variety of reasons. And if anybody is going in the summer, which I think most people do go in the summertime when it's at its hottest, it does have wonderful shady areas to keep you cool. And it's very peaceful. And if you enjoy strolling and have young children, I think you would love to see all the animals at Animal Kingdom. I know that is such a unique experience to see some of the animals really up close and personal. And I remember, I think it was last summer when we were there, we had a really interesting experience. The monkeys near the Cali River Rapids ride were just going crazy, chatting with each other and calling at each other. And it was kind of, we found out it was more of like a territorial call. So it was really quite fun to listen in and observe that. It was really interesting to hear that. And they said that they don't normally make that much noise. And so we were kind of privy to seeing that. You know, Animal Kingdom is evolving. As many of you know, I mean, with the onset with Pandora, the new park there. And I remember when I was thinking back to 20 years ago at Animal Kingdom, I remember specifically that they had a show there, and it was a Tarzan show, which it was a I can't even remember the exact name, but it was kind of a rock and roll show with Tarzan and all these rollerbladers. And all I remember is that it was really cool. And the things that they could do on rollerblades, and roller skates was just unbelievable. I'm not much of a skater, never have been, probably never will be. But I was very, very impressed with what the stunts that they did. And I remember that part of the stage had ramps going up, and our family was sitting literally by the ramp. And I remember very distinctly at one point them whooshing past us, and I could feel the air of them when they had gone past. So it was really cool. And I really, really kind of missed that show, you know, but of course everything evolves. And another thing that I remember particularly, you know, the Tree of Life is absolutely such an amazing piece of art. And just to take it, just to stand there and look at all the different carvings and the intricacies of it, I just think it would have been really cool to have a part in designing that and have that kind of as your legacy. And there's actually a couple that I met. Their story is in one of my books, and they actually met the creator, the artist that created the tree, and got a signed poster from him that on the opening day. And I'll never forget her telling me about that, because they had recently moved from New Jersey. They just decided that, they had enough and they just wanted a change, and so they moved to Florida. And she remembers that day very clearly when she had gone, because actually, when it first opened, it was absolutely packed, and it was so packed that you couldn't get in. And as the afternoon kind of went along, they did announce that pass holders and so on and so forth, there was room for them to go. So that's how she got in and got to meet the artist and get a poster. So welcome to Nancy. She's going to be in Animal Kingdom in July after your Disney cruise. Oh, Nancy, that is absolutely wonderful. Is that your first time in Animal Kingdom? I'm just curious to know, or is that something that you have, a place you've been to before? Something else about Animal Kingdom that I'll never forget, when we had first gone with our daughter who had just turned 3 and our 18-month-old, is A Bug's Life. Everybody, because the Bug's Life theater is kind of in that tree of life, and it's really cool. The queue, obviously, Disney really works hard at entertaining the guests, and in the queues to go to the different attractions. Be aware of all the details that they have there, because it's really fun. And in the Bug's Life, I'll never forget our very first time there. And I traumatized our daughter since she was 3 years old, unfortunately. But we went to Bug's Life just, because we like Flick, we like the whole concept. But oh my word, when the grasshopper came out, she actually just started to shake. She was terrified. And my mom and dad were along at that time, and we had our 18-month-old as well with us. He didn't mind because he wasn't really paying too much attention, I don't think. But at any rate, she had to be taken out. And she's almost 22 years old. To this day, she still doesn't like the grasshopper at Bug's Life. And it's very hard to convince everybody to go to that. Nancy, third time Animal Kingdom, and you're from Seattle. Nancy, I don't know if you know that, but I'm in Seattle as well. So that's actually on the east side of Seattle, just across the lake. So that's so fun. Welcome. That's really neat that you're in my neck of the woods. So Nancy, since you have been to Animal Kingdom, please tell me, what is it that you like to do the most? What is it at Animal Kingdom that you like to do when you go there? Another thing that, of course, is at Animal Kingdom that a lot of people love and has been there for a while is Expedition Everest, the roller coaster. I'm not a big roller coaster person, but I do try to do all the attractions at least once in my life. There's only one that I will not do because I'm absolutely terrified of the whole speed and the upside down thing, which is the rock and roll by Aerosmith, that roller coaster in Hollywood Studios. I won't go on that one. But I finally decided last summer that I would do Expedition Everest. And it wasn't so bad until we started going backwards. And then I actually kind of felt a little sick. So at least I can say that I did that one. And that is my family's go-to fast pass. We always get a fast pass for them, for the 4 of them. And I'm always left holding the bags and trying to watch them come down for the little drop before they go up the steep incline. And sometimes I can see them and sometimes I can't. And I do try to grab a photo of them, which is kind of a little tricky. Any of you guys that have been the bag holder watching from the side there. Something else that Animal Kingdom really I don't think a lot of people realize the different things that you can do besides, the attractions like the rides at Cali River Rapids or Expedition Everest and things like that. And something that I really, really enjoy doing, and I've mentioned this on previous shows a little bit, but the train to Rafiki's Planet, it's really a nice little excursion and great for the little ones and great for the big kids like us that still like animals, but you get a chance to pet the different goats. There's brushes there for you to brush them. I think there was a big pig there, if I can remember correctly, sleeping away that you could pet, and it's just really a neat opportunity for the kids. There's something else. They'll bring out different animals or snakes or whatever for you to interact with within the little center as well. And one thing that I really enjoy there, and just had learned about it, I think it was a year and a half ago, just learn about it, the particular times. So when you are at Rafiki's Planet in the building itself, every day from about 10 to noon, except for Tuesdays, apparently. Now, that's not written in stone, I don't think, but we were that was kind of indicated to us that they do checkups or they'll do surgeries or whatever that you can actually observe. And if you are there, try to head to the back right away so that you can observe that. And they usually have that up on the board. Sometimes the cast members don't know, what's going to happen that day, but there is a board once you get in there that they describe what animal they're going to be looking at or what they're going to be doing. And the one time that we got to see something, we were told that there was going to be like some teeth cleaning on one of the animals, which would have been super cool. But we also saw something else instead, which was really cool too. And they were taking care of a little lizard. And there was probably about half a dozen of the team. Not only a cast member handler, but they had the vets and the vet assistants and the x-ray technicians and that. And it was amazing that the whole team, and they were trying to figure out what was going on with this little lizard. And I thought, wow, that just was really interesting. I found that they were so observant, and they just really take care of the smallest of critters there. And even the ducks that you see wandering around Walt Disney World, they take care of those guys too. They're it looks like it's a free for all, but they are very well taken care of as well. So it was just really neat. And I really highly recommend that if you can get over to Rafiki's Planet between 10 and noon. I just want to say hi to Todd, who's joined us. Todd, we're just talking about Animal Kingdom and different things that you like to do there, because I feel like it's kind of like one of those lost parks, or the ones kind of kept to the side until Pandora, of course, has come upon us. Nancy says she likes the Safari and Lion King show. Love the music throughout the park. Looking forward to Pandora at night. Not an Avatar fan. Okay. The Safari and Lion King show, absolutely my go-to all-time favorite things. The Lion King show, I feel like crying every time I hear the music, because it's just so powerful and so amazing. And I love to see it year after year after year, because often you still see the same leads singing, and it's nice. It's kind of like being it's nice, the familiarity of the same leads. And then of course they do change them up, but I love that show. I will never ever tire of it. And I was in New York in October and desperately wanted to see Lion King on Broadway, but it was just not in the cards for me to see. I was just so swamped and busy with a conference that I was at, and I never did get to see it. So I hope one day to see the Lion King, the live show. And the Safari, without a doubt. I don't know if there's any particular time of day that's better. I mean, they always say the animals are kind of quieter, kind of sleepier in the afternoon, but we have been on that safari for mornings, I mean, depending on when your fast passes are, afternoons, early evening and things like that. But something that has been really fun is to see, the new elephant when the little elephant was born. And this time, it won't be on the safari. It'll be more on the one of the walks, the treks, to see the cubs, the tiger cubs. I'm looking forward to that. Another thing, I love babies, baby animals. I'm a huge animal lover, and it was really neat to see the baby gorilla when she was born, and how little she was. It was just really, really interesting. I have Bayaretta from Twitch. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Dinosaur is definitely our favorite thing. At Animal Kingdom, we always ride it multiple times. I forgot about the dinosaur ride. That is an absolutely fantastic ride too. Gosh, thanks for bringing that up. You know, that the dinosaur ride, I remember years ago, it was something that when our kids were really little, we didn't really go on it. We couldn't go on it just because of the height requirements and that. But that is really cool. And I have to say, it's so real, as you know. I actually, I'm going to make a confession. I actually close my eyes sometimes on it because it is really scary. And there's one particular place, and I'm not going to ruin it if somebody hasn't been on it, but Barrett, I'm sure you know the part. And it's just terrifying. And if I could scream, if I could remember to scream, I would scream on it. But yeah, it's a great ride, isn't it? Something that Nancy was saying, that she wants to see Pandora at night. You know, it's so incredible. It's really, really dark, surprisingly. I was really surprised how dark it is at night there, but it's really otherworldly. It really is. And with all the amazing lights, in the ferns and all the plants. I mean, they look so real. And then you've got this light up, and it is very much otherworldly. And a funny story about that, because the botanists, of course, Disney has their botanist teams and things like that to, trim down plants and keep them all lovely looking for us. But one thing, the botanists, when they went into the park, they were doing their job, trimming things down. And a few of them noticed that there was actually some wires attached to some of the ferns and things that they were trimming down. So it actually had fooled some of the botanists. When they were first starting to clip, they actually started clipping some of the ferns that were magically lit, but of course they weren't lit at the time. But they had actually cut some of the ones that you don't really want to cut. But it is absolutely fantastic to see it at night. If you have not been on Pandora, on the Flight of Passage, I have to tell you, it is one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced in my life. And you don't have to be an Avatar fan, but it is just so cool. And it has, for me, I've always thought of kind of Disney like up here with the animatronics and the ride experience and everything. But so I would say, okay, so I will start at a level 10. That's what I feel, how the Imagineers have created these amazing experiences for us guests. But oh my word, for anybody that is thinking about Flight of Passage, it is a 20 or off the scale. It's so unbelievable. And I'm kind of one that gets, I can't do the Dumbo ride. I can't do teacups because I'm gets me kind of sick and dizzy. And one thing is Pandora, I was okay on it. Oh, I think there's a couple of places in Pandora that I was feeling just a little woozy. And basically, you can close your eyes for a second or just look off into the distance, kind of get your bearing. But I'll tell you, that is the best. And I know I've seen a lot of people on Facebook wondering how can they get these fast passes that it's impossible to get. I keep saying, keep trying. You never know. And as I've mentioned on previous shows, we actually got one just kind of last minute, but because we had never the first time we were there since it opened, we wanted to make sure we were going to get on that. So I think it was the second or third day that we were there. What we did was very unconventional, but it got us on there before the park even opened. And I'm going to advise this for you guys, for any diehards that really want to get on that ride and can't get a fast pass. I really suggest that you Uber it to the park, take a lift, take whatever, because Disney buses don't go to the park for obvious reasons until it's open, or 30 minutes before it opens. So if you can get there about an hour or so ahead of time, we ended up getting there an hour and a half ahead of time. We were second in line. And by the time they let us through, I think it was about half an hour, 40 minutes later, they started letting us through. But they're very, very good about crowd control. Now I'm kind of curious to know, with Toy Story Land opening June 30th, how that's going to affect that park, because as anything new is going on, everybody kind of goes over to check out the new stuff, right? Everybody wants the fast passes for all that, and it leaves a little bit of the other stuff behind. However, Pandora is still pretty new, and I would imagine that people would still be there, but it might lessen the crowd. I know that I was talking to somebody that actually stood in line for the Flight of Passage for 4 hours. And I don't know about you, but I just can't do that. I can't stand in line for 4 hours, no matter how fantastic a ride is. I just can't do that. I have very limited time, and I think I wouldn't have the patience to do that. 4 hours is just such an extreme amount of time. But what they said is their wait of 4 hours was still worth it. So that just goes to tell you a little bit about that. So try to check it out if you can. Tisha May, well, welcome, and welcome to the Positively Disney show. You've not been to Animal Kingdom. I hope you get there someday. I really do. It's fantastic. And I don't know, a lot of people kind of avoid the walkabouts there, the gorilla walk, and there's two of them. I can't remember the exact names, but I love those. I mean, it's really fun to have the cast members tell you these little bits and pieces of information, like the fruit bats. I'm kind of a bit afraid of bats. They can fly above me. That's fine. They're doing their job, getting the mosquitoes. But when I was in elementary school back in Alberta, Canada, there would be these little tiny bats, and they'd be kind of like stuck in the corner of the school, and it would be freaking everybody out. So I'm a little leery of bats, but the big fruit bats that they have there are really cool, and they're very sweet, and you kind of actually start liking bats after hanging out there and learning how much good they do, and seeing them with their young. They're really, really cute. Oh, Tisha, thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you for Tisha. Gave me a very nice compliment. She loved my book. So some of you may or may not know I'm actually the author of the Positively Disney book series, and that's from where this whole podcast stems from, because I love people, and I enjoy it when you guys can talk and share stories with each other, and it's just really nice to be able to have you guys on board. Tisha was saying that her fiance almost convinced her to go to Walt Disney just for the bats, and she said she was scared of bats as well. But it's really cool. They're really cool, and something about the walks in Animal Kingdom that I really love is to actually take the time to slow down and learn about the different things. I know I think is it the naked mole rat? Is that what it's called? These naked mole rats. I have to tell you, most incredible little creatures I've ever seen in my life. And they have all these little canals and tunnels and stuff like that. And they're really, really fascinating creatures. And you can learn so much there. It's just really, really a lot of fun. Anyways, I wanted to tell you that if you are going there, I know, Tisha May, you should listen to your fiance and check it out. But anyways, Nancy, when you go to Animal Kingdom, I'm not sure if any of you guys have had a chance to see the projection show on the Tree of Life. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's the same, it's the same technology, that they use on the castle. And the projection technology, of course, is huge, and it's been, always developing something more fantastic and greater, as you guys know, seen the castle projections or whatever. And I had really the best of luck actually in meeting one of the Imagineers with that team, the technology of the projection team, and she showed us how they actually had done it, had created it, and how they kind of kept pushing the envelope to do that. Tisha mentions that she's watched that on YouTube. Yeah. Oh, Nancy, thank you. She said she also has my books, and she met me at the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet last summer. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, Nancy, this summer when I'm there, so I'll just let people know who are watching. So in the Pacific Northwest, there's actually a really cool thing, and it's all sold out. It's sold out, I think, in like 3 days. It's called the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet, and it's the largest unofficial Disney meetup in the world. And it's practically in my backyard, about 35-40 minutes from me. And the funny thing about that is, well, I was a vendor there for the first time last year. And I've been living in this area for 7 years. And I so wish I would have known about that when we moved here 7 years ago. But anyways, I found out about the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet in Ireland from somebody that happened to be from this area, that we were both Disney fans, and she happened to be at this the same place I was. It was so bizarre how it worked out. I mean, you guys, there's lots of serendipitous types of things, But anyways, found out about it. It's just a great family, Disney family at its best. And you get to meet some really, really neat people, guests, and the not only some of the guest speakers, but the guests at the Pacific Northwest, with several, just fellow Disney fans and enjoying things. So Nancy, I don't know, are you going again this year? I thought I'd ask that because I definitely want you to introduce yourself again to me, so that I can now put your face to a name and things like that. But that's really fun. Something that I have to tell you that is, I just want to share with you a little personal story that does involve Animal Kingdom to an extent, but it was a really interesting moment in our lives. It actually happened in, I think it was 2011, actually. So, Nancy says, yes, she has my ticket. Okay, Nancy. So we will see you in July. At any rate, we were camping at Fort Wilderness. We had our RV there, and we were going to be bringing it back to Alberta. And I thought I would just say hello to my mom, give her a call from Fort Wilderness, and called her. And she actually happened to be at my aunt and uncle's, her brother's place. But the really strange thing about it is I found out that my cousin and his wife and kids, and we'd not even met their kids, they were staying at Fort Wilderness at the exact same time. We had been there for a few days overlap. We were leaving the next day. I couldn't believe it. And I mean, they lived in a whole other province than us, a 10-hour drive from us. And I remember my cousin very fondly from growing up. We really had a very good relationship. But, when you get older and you kind of move away and, things happen and you don't stay in touch, you kind of live vicariously through your parents, keeping contact. Well, anyways, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to find my cousins and, all the privacy stuff. And then I was worried that Disney wouldn't let me know where they were. And I went to the front up there at the front desk, and I explained the situation. I said, my gosh, I said, I have to find them. I know there's the privacy up, but this is who they are. And this is, I gave them all the particulars, and they got actually really excited for me. So they did actually give me their campsite number. And so I went over there thinking, they're going to be there. Well, nobody's there. And I remember that night particularly, and why it ties into Animal Kingdom, because Animal Kingdom was actually open to like midnight or 1 a.m. in the morning, something crazy like that. I've never, ever, ever been to Animal Kingdom that late at night. And that was something that we were planning on doing, being our last night there, but I didn't want to miss my cousins. So we hung around all night, checking back and forth on our golf cart for them to see if they come in. And I finally gave up at, I don't know what time it was, 11 at night, and left a note. And we actually did get in touch with them. And I'm kicking myself still to this day for not going to Animal Kingdom, because that's where they were all night. And I'll never forget that. It was really interesting because they were there and they told us that there was like nobody there by midnight. So they went on Cali River Rapids 14 times in a row. I thought that was absolutely insane. It was crazy. And I thought 14 times in a row, well, why not? That is that's a fun ride. And if you're wet already, you may as well keep getting wet. But something that happened is we ended up meeting up first in the morning before we started our long 4-day drive back home. And it was just such an amazing, amazing experience with the cousins and that. And I just wish we would have gone to Animal Kingdom. But then I was kind of wondering that maybe I wouldn't even have recognized them because, well, people change over the years. And I don't know if I wouldn't have recognized the kids because I had not met them. I really want to welcome Diane, Myers, and Chance. They are absolutely lovely folks. I've got their story in one of my books too, you guys. It was, and those of you that have my books, it's this title. Oh my gosh, what is the title? Happiness by Chance. And it's a really lovely story. These are just absolutely wonderful mother and son. She has an Animal Kingdom question. We love to use the photo booth in Dino Land, recreating our same poses every other year when we visit. Love to sit at the Flame Tree. Love the Safari, Lion King show, and can't wait to see Pandora. Diane, I never knew about the Dino Land photo booth. Oh, that is a brilliant idea. And if you guys know about that, maybe Bayaretta knows about it because they do the dinosaur ride. But oh my gosh, Diane, I can't believe I've never, ever seen the photo booth there. I'm going to have to check that out. What a really, really neat way of a little souvenir and remembering each year, like just following each year. I think that's a brilliant idea, Diane. Good for you. Yeah, Safari, Lion King show, Pandora. You're absolutely going to love that. Another funny thing it just came to me when you're talking about in Dino Land. there, before, as you're walking into Dinoland, on the left-hand side, there's this super large bone side, like it looks like a bone, and it's a sign, and it says the Boneyard, I believe, on that. And we actually know the artist that created that. I had their little girl as one of my students many years ago. It was really interesting to see that they created that, and it was just a really lovely opportunity for them. They live up in northern Alberta now, but they actually created that bone. So I kind of brings back memories of teaching their beautiful little girl whenever I walk by there. Again, I want to just welcome all you guys on Facebook and my Twitch TV people as well. I'm really happy that you could join me on this late sunny afternoon, actually, in Seattle. Tisha, I just went to Disneyland for the first time. Oh, wow. That is such a different experience, isn't it, Tisha? And you have been to Walt Disney World? I'm not too sure if you actually have, or you just, oh, I think you have been, but don't worry, Animal Kingdom, Tisha says, I wish I could contribute more. Animal Kingdom is one of my weaker points. No worries. This is why we chat about things, and I don't know about you, but I learned something new absolutely every single day. And I really enjoy learning about things and passing things on as well. I want to just tell you something, an experience that happened to me today, which was sort of planned, but I was kind of surprised at the ramifications of it and the actual what happened. So today I was actually in the office of a former Disney animator who had worked on, let's see, Pocahontas, Brother Bear, Mulan. Gosh, I can't even remember all the different things he worked on. And we were there for a purpose, actually. My son was sharing his art portfolio with him to get some feedback. And it was the coolest office, I'll tell you, that I think I've ever been in my life, because as an animator, you continue your work, whether you're working on a film or not. And he had, honestly, it was wall to wall drawings and amazing library of books in his office. And of course he had the animators table with the round backlit part of the drawing board and the flip paper and stuff like that, and showing us thumbnail stuff that he was just kind of drawing for fun, but he had some of his stuff up from his Disney days and other stuff that he does. And he also actually teaches animation now. And it was I just have to tell you that I feel very, very blessed to know and have met and know these people now that have made such an amazing difference in my life through the Disney films and my Disney experiences, experiencing the attractions in the park, but the films. And I'm always so amazed at how, we're all human beings, but these people have such gifts that they can give us through their art, through their imagination. And this particular fellow that was looking at my son's portfolio, he's just such a very humble man, and his story actually is in the first book. And it as I say, it is just very, it's a real privilege for me to know some of these folks, and my son was really happy to get feedback from him. So I just, it was just kind of something that happened today that, we had planned. He'd been invited this morning to have a look at his work, and then to actually go in the office, and you just kind of got a snapshot of, wow, how he thinks, and how he creates, and how he can bring this and transfer all of his experiences to his students of animation. So it was really fun. I had a really, really fun morning, and I'm really excited for my son who's heading that direction himself. Tisha, says, I know an artist that worked on Emperor's New Groove, Prince of Egypt, so many other things, and he lives in Utah, and he is so amazing. He's so kind to talk to. Yeah, they really are. They every animator that I've met, whether they have retired from the Disney studios and go on to teaching, or if they're still working at the Disney studios, they are absolutely lovely, and they're very humble, and they know how lucky they are. Very grateful for the opportunity to work for the company, or continue working for the company and creating. And Tisha, yeah, I bet, yeah, he's very, I agree that, that I would imagine he'd be very, very nice, very decent person to talk to, because I know that they're very grateful, and they know how privileged they've been to actually to get a position with the Walt Disney Studios. So I think that's so fun to actually see that Emperor's New Groove. I would imagine if you had seen that film, Tisha, you probably watched the credits roll. And I've always stayed. Do you guys stay for the credits to roll? I stay for the credits to roll for two reasons now in Disney films, actually. One is to see if there's going to be any kind of little tidbits at the end, Last Pirates of the Caribbean. You wanted to make sure you stayed for the whole thing, because, oh my gosh, there's going to be another one based on what was after the credits had rolled. And also, it's really kind of neat. You kind of see some of the same animators, of course, on things. And I always like to see the production babies. I think that's really fun. And it's neat to, if you do know an animator or two, to see their name up there. And I know that they are very tickled as well. I know one fellow, his story's in the fourth book, and it was I'm trying to think the film he had first worked on. I think it was Beauty and the Beast, actually, not the most recent one, but the first one that came out in the 90s. And he and his mother and his grandmother and sister actually went, and they waited for the credits to roll. And it was so I can't even think of the words. It just hit him, and it was so amazing for him and his family because it's. He said that they were all crying. He had finally made it, and he said it was one of his dreams, since he was in junior high, and worked really hard to get there. So I must say that any of the artists, but they're people too, right? And they just really, really appreciate having those opportunities. Anyways, I don't know if anybody wants to call in or not tonight, but I think I'm going to wrap up the show. I didn't have a chance. My husband actually usually is on here, but he's in Munich, Germany right now. He's actually overseas for a couple of weeks, and I kind of miss him being online watching my show. But I know he'll be back in a couple of weeks. But you guys, it was really lovely having you on this evening. Well, late this we're still afternoon here in Seattle, but it was just really nice that you guys could join me today for my 23rd podcast. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in the future. And if you guys want to call in or just chat about anything, that is you're more than welcome to do so. But I will be back at the same time next week at 4:00-ish. Well, 4:00 to 4:30-ish. I never want to say it's exactly at 4:30 because I definitely don't mind going over a little bit. And I just want to wish you guys a really great week. Have a lovely day, rest of your day, and be safe. And we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.